Welcome to Morning Joe with Tom, with your host, Thomas Chappell. Get ready to listen to real-life stories from inspiring leaders who have overcome incredible challenges to rise to the occasion. If you're ready to add some pep to your morning with a new outlook on leadership, then grab your cup of coffee. It's time to be inspired. Here's your host, Thomas Chappell.
Hey, MC, thanks for coming today. You've been a hero of mine, and I am so proud to have you on my podcast today and being able to reach out to the leadership crowd that I have. So
thank you for having me. This is fantastic, and been looking forward to our conversation, and I'm honored to be a part of your podcast.
Yeah, and I just appreciate being able to kind of listen to your podcast and you know, all of the stories that you've shared and a lot of investment ideas that you kind of share along the way. So for my leadership crowd, tell us a little bit about your story of kind of, because you've kind of got a growing concern for a business. So, you know, tell us a little bit about a day in the life there.
Yeah, so I'm originally from South Africa. I came here in 2001, and I grew up on a farm, like a homestead in South Africa. So we had everything. We had chicken coops and cows and ponies, and later horses and sheep. And you know, I think back of my memories in Africa. It's very fond. I learned a lot. You actually, you know, when you grow up on a farm or a homestead, or you're just connected to nature, you look without thinking about it. You learn how the world works, and you know where things come from, right? So I knew where eggs came from, and I know it didn't come from the supermarket, right? The same as milk, you know, milking our cows and so forth. And yeah, I was very I was always a big reader and just a very curious person, which is funny because my son is very, very curious now too. But I've always been very, very interested in learning and understanding how things work. And I grew up during a very interesting time in South Africa's history. It basically went from one regime to another regime. So, but yeah, the apartheid government fell during that time. And I was like 13, 14 years old when this happened. So I was old enough to understand what was happening and seeing everything and seeing how people react. You know, I still remember when they released Nelson Mandela from prison in 1991. So I saw, you know, what it was like as a young kid when there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of, I would say, yeah, it was kind of chaotic. There's uncertainty, there's unknowns. People don't know what's going on. People don't know what the next day is going to look like. And everybody was very uncomfortable. So I always jokingly say I'm comfortable being uncomfortable, because I kind of lived through that. And I excelled at sports, which that kind of like being uncomfortable is a pretty good thing to have in sports. Because if you could get out of your comfort zone, you can excel, which then just keeps building confidence. So I eventually got a scholarship playing sport at university when I was done. Then I traveled a little bit, and that's when how I came to the United States. And I have to say, like, you know, the one thing that really hit me about the United States when I first came here is the incredible opportunity that existed in this country and in this place. It's just quite remarkable, unlike anything else that I've seen. And I traveled quite a bit. There's just the upward mobility that is available here. I don't think people that are born in the United States can grasp it, you know, or they appreciate it. In a lot of different countries, it's very tough to start with nothing, because of how certain societies are structured, how the countries are structured, the governments are structured, and so forth. But in the United States, I mean, how many rags to riches stories have you heard here? There's a reason for it, right? And I think that's why immigrants get so excited when they come here too. And there was actually an article that somebody forwarded to me about a couple of months ago, and it was something about something crazy Elon Musk did again. But the article is from Forbes, and you know, and in the article it just stated about how many immigrants became billionaires in the United States, and I was just blown away. And it was funny, in the article, the person was trying to understand, how is this possible? And I said, because they come, you know, and I could speak from experience, and they come and they see, wow, this place is incredible. So yeah, and that's why I decided to stay in the United States. I played sports here up until 2007. I was a captain of of sports teams throughout my life. Also in a leadership position, playing sports and rugby, which is a pretty brutal sport.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, and then as I was traveling and playing sports, that's why I came across Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I bought my first investment property. This is now 2001. And then just fell in love with investing, the world of investing, and business and so forth. And you know, a couple of years later, I started my firm. After finishing sports, I started my firm, Producers Wealth, and we help business owners and investors structure cash flow management systems, also known as infinite banking, which is based on using a very specific type of life insurance to warehouse capital, where it's guaranteed, it's growing tax-free, and they can access to grow their business and their investment portfolios. And I have a podcast called Cashflow Ninja, which I mean, it's kind of a crazy idea of how it started. Just thinking about, you know, out of the box, you know, getting out of my comfort zone of like, hey, how do I exponentially increase my learning about investments and cash flow? And I thought, wouldn't it be great if I can start a podcast interviewing some of the best minds in business and investing? That would really help me every week, because I'm forced to interview folks because I got to put a show out, right? And by doing that, I get to meet incredible people, learn from them. My listeners get to learn from them, and it can accelerate learning. And it definitely did. It's been 7 years now, almost 8 years since I've done the show. We've done over 1,000 episodes between all of the podcasts. It's been quite a journey, and I've met incredible people throughout the world, you know, such as yourself, and I've connected to them. So I've been extremely blessed, you know, on this journey, and continue to have a little fun in the meantime, and you know, enjoying all of the many blessings.
Yeah, well, thank you. I feel honored to have been able to connect with you as well. And you truly have that mastermind capability of influencing people and helping them reach that next level. So, so let me ask, when you were younger, what did you really envision whenever it was coming time to come to America?
Yeah, it was, you know, I came here, so one of my parents' dreams were, because my dad used to travel quite a bit. He was teaching martial arts all over the world. So one of their dreams were to bring their kids to Disney World, because they experienced it. So we actually came in 1997. That was the first time I came to the United States. But it was kind of through a different lens that you viewed the United States, right? Because I was still in high school. I was very focused on sport, and it was more the sightseeing, and, you know, and just, you know, we have family, friends here and so forth, and you know, seeing a lot of the great country. When I came by myself the second time, I viewed it through a completely different lens. I viewed it through the business and investing and opportunity, and what you can create here and what you can build. And yeah, I mean, it's a country that is extremely big. I don't think most people realize how big it is. I've been very, very fortunate to have seen a lot of the country, traveling quite a bit for sports, so seeing many, many states. I think I was counting with my son the other day. I was over in 40 different states I've been in the US, which is great. and I hopefully I'll get to knock out all 50 of them. But yeah, so it was just it was just a incredible experience to come here. The people are great, and the one thing about the US is there's a lot of innovation, very, very, very innovative, and they continue to innovate. And that's why if you look at all the stuff that's happening from a growth standpoint, they will continue to innovate, and they've innovated themselves on a lot of holes that they've dug themselves in. So we see now with a lot of AI and so forth. So yeah, I think like, back to your question, like, what did you envision? I kind of have an idea that it's a big place where big things can be done, but I didn't quite realize how big you can think and dream and do until I got here.
Okay. Well, a lot of my listeners are leaders, right? So,
yep.
What little tidbit of advice would you give them whenever they're looking at, because they're facing AI, they're facing all kinds of technologies, and in some cases, they may even face things that could really be destructive to their business. What would you give as a hint as to kind of help weather the storm?
Yeah, I would say that the rate of change on the inside of your organization always has to be aligned or at the same speed as the rate of change outside of it. Mm-hmm. It is, and I would even say, challenge yourself and your team and your organization to have a higher rate of change, meaning you guys are innovating, you're staying ahead of things, as opposed to adapting on what's going, just playing catch up. So it's very fast moving. There's a lot of things happening at rapid speeds. They're going to continue to happen at a lot of rapid speeds. So you're going to need some folks that think out. Well, I was going to say think out of the box, but it's time to throw the box away. There's no box. It's just time to get uncomfortable, get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I would say, and being part of the part of being uncomfortable is forcing yourself to continually innovate. I speak with a lot of leaders and a lot of folks leading companies, and they, the one person that I've become pretty good friends with, he even said to me that he just appointed a chief innovation officer. And it is basically like, this person needs to be on top of everything, see the trends so that they don't continually just react, but they are moving at the same rate and adjust and changing as an organization inside than what is happening on the outside. I think if you just stay exactly the same and you don't adapt, I think that in the past, when the internet came out, right? Most people don't remember this. It's so funny. I was at university. So we're talking now like 97 to 2000. I was in 2001. I came to the States. So the internet just came out, but we still hand wrote our papers and did research from encyclopedias and physical things. And the internet came, and that changed the game big time. And it happened in a speed, and there was a lot of people caught off guard, right? That hurt some businesses. They went under. They couldn't adapt. There was a lot of disruptive companies and so forth. But I think this AI stuff is going to be that on steroids, times 100. So so what that means is that the speed at which things are going to change is going to happen so quickly that most people don't understand why they're going to be in such a turbulent environment. But this is what's underneath everything. Because if you think about it, everything is economically, right? And that's why I love economics, because we live on an economic planet, and things manifest itself differently. And sometimes things could manifest itself politically, but it's an economic problem. For example, a bunch of people that just get basically put out of work because they don't understand what's happening, because it's happening so quickly. You know, AI replacing a whole bunch of jobs. It could replace industries. And now those people are out of work. Well, you're going to have a lot of confused and disappointed and angry, you know, all the stages of grief. You're going to have those folks, and it's going to manifest itself politically in kind of like populist ways because they didn't see it coming and they didn't adapt. So from an organizational standpoint, if you're a leader, you have to understand, all right, here's what's happening. It's very chaotic. It's very turbulent because of all these changes. I mean, AI is the ability to change a lot of systems that the world currently runs on.
Yeah.
And it could transform into new systems, or the systems it currently runs on could become completely obsolete. And now there's new systems emerging. What a disruption that's going to cause.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing from a leader standpoint. The leader standpoint is, I need to recognize what's happening, why it's happening, and where this is going next, because then I can position myself and my organization to actually not fall victim to this rapid speed of change, but we can actually position ourselves to capitalize on opportunities. Because, you know, as you remember from the internet, you know, and even like I saw a lot in the crypto space too, there's always opportunities. And the folks that saw the trend early and positioned themselves and got in the right position, I mean, they did so well. I see the same type of opportunities again. You're just going to, again, you're going to have to scan, be aware of what's going on, you know, say out loud what you're seeing. I know it's a crazy thing to say in this world, and it needs a little bit of courage. You know, there's actually an African proverb, which I think your listeners will enjoy. The African proverb is, the speaker of the truth has no friends. But anyway, you're going to have to say what's happening out loud, even how uncomfortable it is, so that you can position and not only survive, but thrive during a chaotic and turbulent environment.
Right. Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, and there's a lot that is shaking up right now. I mean, and it's not just with AI. I mean, just remember the car industry, whenever they went to some robotics, there was like, you know, fire everywhere, that jobs were going to end, all of this stuff. But then it became humans and robotics working together to put cars together. Now they're facing going from combustion to electric, you know, so there's a new challenge. So, you know, how that will be overcome is yet to still be seen, but leaders need to be kind of focused on those things, because it may not look like it's impacting you today, but, you know, what you're kind of talking about is a lot like foresight and, you know, looking into the future. There's no one clear future. It's not a binary situation. It's a multitude of futures, and you're going to find yourself on one. You just need to be aware of which one and kind of help yourself. So,
yeah, no, very, very well said. It's to your point that, you know, using the automotive industry as an example, if you were in the horse and buggy and you saw Henry Ford with his, you know, his automobile, you kind of know where this is going. And you're kind of saying like, hey, this horse and buggy, this is great, but I think that's kind of where it's going. So instead of just, you know, digging in your heels and fighting for that horse and buggy, some trends are too hard and too powerful to fight against. You're going to have to go with that and see how you can leverage it. You know, and instead of digging in your heels and fighting for the horse and buggy, you could have potentially been an investor, you know, in Ford, or have a car dealership, or, you know, sell cars if you're a young person just starting out. The same type of things are going to be available. And if you're young and or just starting out, I would say like these trends, because there's a lot of people in my network they're young, right? They're either just finished high school, they're in college, and they always listen to a lot of the ideas that we shared, and they feel like, well, how can I get involved in this? I would say, like, look at the trends and then learn as much as you can of it, because eventually you will be of value for some business owner out there, for some leader in the space, that they'll bring you in, and in whatever capacity that is, as someone that provides employment or a subcontractor. Just think about AI. If you're young and learning everything that you can now about AI, and you go to a business owner 6 months from now, and say, here's some of the things that I've learned in AI, and I can help you do X, Y, and Z with regards to bringing your business up to speed with AI. I think most business owners and leaders are going to be all over that.
Right.
And so, there's so much opportunity with especially this rapid speed of change.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I look forward to kind of seeing how some of these technologies and capabilities, not because it's not all technology, just the capabilities, because we're moving from a model that's not just pure education anymore, and then kind of
Yep.
going to the workplace. It's encouraging more experiential work, and then you're kind of coming into the workforce. So I really kind of enjoyed that piece of it all, because I feel like anymore the education kind of gets you to the interview, but it's the experience that gets you the job. So
That's it.
and that's so from that, how could leaders help encourage that type of growth in their employees and associates?
Setting a very bold and inspiring vision for the team. And sometimes it's going to be crazy at first. I'll give you an example.
Okay.
This is a real life example. So when I went to business school, and we're talking now 2010, roundabout there, I think 2010 or 11, I did some consulting at Amazon, and I had a meeting at an Amazon office. I believe it was one in New Jersey. And we walked around in the Amazon building, and we walked past the boardroom. And as I walked past the boardroom, the door was slightly open, and I looked, kind of like peeked into it, and I saw a conference room with people sitting, and then I saw a big screen TV, and I saw a whole bunch of people that have dialed in. I figured it out after that, all through Skype, because Zoom didn't exist back then. So it was all through Skype. And I'd asked the person that was helping us and giving us the tour, what is going on? Like, what's going on there? And they said, oh, they're having a leadership meeting, like it's all the regional managers, they jump on, and that's kind of how they meet. And the person that I was with, doing this consulting there, I looked at him, and I said, why would anybody go into an office or consult in person? Because I'm just thinking, like, you could do all this work. It could be online. You could be in New York. Someone else could be in LA, and you could help out a client or a customer and help solve their problems that way. Like, my mind was just blown. I'm like, this is insane. Like, I can't believe I just saw this. I've seen the future. This is what it's going to look like. And at that stage, I'm like, this is what it's going to look like 10 years from now. Everybody's going to be doing this. This is how we are going to interact with one another, and the majority of businesses will be conducted. And then when I started my firm, this was towards the end of 2014, 2015, I completely built it completely virtual, 100%, no in-person meetings. And it was very, very hard. But I was just, I had a lot of belief that what I saw is a vision of the future, and the people that were working with me, I said, this is what I'm going to build. This is what I see 10 years from now. And this is what I'm setting out to build. And this is how it's going to be. And in the beginning, that was very, very crazy. everybody kind of looked at me like I was a lunatic. And a lot of people jokingly said, "Oh, are you the, are you the crazy guy like doing some insurance thing on the internet?" Which is very funny back then, if you can remember. "Oh, you're kind of like that weird guy on the internet." And then when 2020 happened, March of 2020, now we're going into that bold vision kind of outlined. My firm was built. I mean, we did not skip a beat. We literally went from, okay, so the environment has finally caught up to where we are at. And I know it was some very, very severe circumstances. I believe that we just fast forwarded in 2020, 5 years into the future. The speed, like very, very quickly. It was going to go there anyway. That just forced kind of everybody to go that way. And then, of course, we human beings, we're strange creatures, right? Kind of crazy. Once our behaviors are kind of adjusted, and we do things differently for a while, usually 90 days, it's very tough to revert back to how you did it before. So so we were very well positioned in 2020 when that happened. And the lessons from that is just what I learned was, it was not easy. A lot of folks say you were perfectly positioned for that. This is crazy. And a lot of people wanted to do interviews and discuss about that. And I said, look, you can see spot trends and you can position yourself for it. But for a very long time, you're going to be the only person, on that side of that, or that has that vision, right? There's not going to be a lot of people that have that. And then eventually it'll catch up. And that's why you have to be patient too, with that big vision that you have. But I think if you're excited, you're energized by it, and you can get people to buy in on it, I think you can really build something special and go somewhere special, leading your team.
Absolutely. So I would like to kind of pause for just a second and kind of say one area I think that you've really innovated in, you and your company, and that is whenever it comes down to the infinite banking. Because for people like me that bootstrap their business and all, having that capability to reach back and be able to pull out funding as needed and be able to kind of pay it back, but you're paying yourself back, that's amazing. And to be able to set up benefit plans for employees that is going to take them out. I mean, to me, it's better than a 401k, the way it's structured. So, my hat's off to you for such great innovation there.
Thank you.
Offering that to the world. So
yeah, no, thank you. It's been the infinite banking strategy is something I've done personally for 14 years, and just all came down to where the best place is to warehouse capital if you're a business owner and an investor. And the answer that I always came up with, well, the best place to put capital for a business owner and an investor is where you can access it to grow your business and grow your investment portfolio. And I think we've been so, indoctrinated in thinking, well, there's only one way to do something, right? I've got to max out qualified retirement plans, and I've got to give my money to a financial advisor. The kind of comical thing, if you step back and just look at the forest and not just focus on the trees, is that the financial advisor would put that money in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, and those stocks are invested in other people's companies. So it's kind of comical when you look at it that way. It's like, oh, so you're investing in Apple. I don't think Apple needs your capital. They have enough of their own, but your own business could sure do with a little capital. And that's the great thing. It's a cash flow management system. We utilize life insurance where the life insurance is structured specifically for the cash value, the savings component, and it does have the death benefit, but it's structured as a vehicle to warehouse savings. And you can set up a line of credit which you can also call a policy loan or a life insurance line of credit, using this cash value the same way how you access equity in a home through a home equity line of credit. And then you can utilize the money for your business, hire employees, invest in technology, and if you need some capital requirements. So it's for business owners. It's been a game changer for the business owners in our network. So instead of a business owner going to the bank, being put through a very strenuous vetting process just to get a loan or a line of credit, I think most business owners, especially that bootstrap their companies, can appreciate that. They're probably cringing just hearing that. But you're going through that whole process. So instead of going through all of that, the capital that you position in these life insurance policies, you can access, and you can, for example, loan the money personally to your business. The business can, for example, invest in equipment, which is tax benefits to it, through depreciation. And the business can repay the loan to you because you loaned it. So you can give the business a note, which is also, could have a tax benefit. You can write off the interest off of and the payments off of taxes if it's structured correctly. And then you get to benefit because you have uninterrupted compound interest in your life insurance policy, 3 to 4% per year, guaranteed. It just keeps growing for you, and you got to utilize it and leverage in your business and have all these amazing tax benefits. So there's a lot of strategy involved with it. So it involves thinking a little bit differently. Like I said, no box, just throw the box away. We're completely outside of the box. But yeah, it's been extremely fulfilling, to get creative a little bit in structuring some great cash flow management systems for business owners and for investors.
Well, I really appreciate your time today. I would like to kind of ask, how could folks from my network be able to reach out to you? And I'll put that into the show notes.
Thank you so much for having me. This was fantastic. Always appreciate our conversations. If they're interested in just listening to, I would say, in everything business and investing, Cashflow Ninja, cashflowninja.com is the podcast. We cover business, we cover real estate, commodities, paper assets, cryptocurrencies, all kinds of stuff. And then if they're interested in more in the infinite banking concept strategy, there is a presentation at yourownbankingsystem.com. That's yourownbankingsystem.com.
Okay. And I believe, if I remember right, you have a mastermind as well.
We do. Yeah, for business owners and investors that's looking to protect and build wealth during turbulent times. And a lot of the stuff that we share is some of the conversations that we just had, some part of it. So about, the speed of change, about all of the disruption, the turbulent stuff that's going on out there. And then, of course, after recognizing all of your dangers and threats, the best thing then to do is to protect and then recognize the opportunities. Because with all these dangerous things happening, the other side of it is opportunity. And I believe is it a Chinese symbol which represents both danger is opportunity. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's Cashflow Nirvana, and they can check it out too at cashflowninja.com.
Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate your time, and I know your schedule's slammed, so that it makes it even more valuable today. So I appreciate it, and we look forward to having you back in the future.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to Morning Joe with Tom. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss an episode. See you next time for more real-life stories and inspiration on Morning Joe with Tom.